as I sat in the police car in Corsicana last October. And so I thought to myself first, wow, so this is what the front seat of one of these things looks like. But I also got to thinking that the culture wars changed from the philosophical war that my dad and Marion and Ruby fought, where it was a war of ideas, to what's become a very dangerous political war, where people who say, do, and think things, like David, things that the establishment doesn't want done, said, or even thought, go to jail. Now, Michael Quinn Sullivan, the president of Empower Texans, also here tonight, my partner in crime, or alleged crime. We were only given citations that night, although we eventually beat him in court, go figure, but we had to make a decision even that night. Do we push this a little further to exercise our right to the freedom of assembly and freedom of speech and go to jail? And we now have to make a decision whether we're all going to become biblical Davids and engage the culture, or we're going to back down, or we're going to stand up to immoral activity done by anyone, including the government, and increasingly, especially the government. So just this Thursday, Texas Right to Life won another court victory in the First Court of Appeals in our efforts to expose the wrongdoing of a former state senator, whom we helped defeat, who tried to silence us, use his position to threaten us, to bully us, so that he could remain a member of the establishment. Now we're winning, but we're a long way away from that. But to continue the theme of the victories, let's take a look at the Texas abortion numbers since 1990. Look at that graph. And that's despite the tremendous increase in population. Every year I come before you, and that graph just keeps getting better. But despite this, should we be greedy? You know, we're winning. The numbers are going down. Why should we want the state legislature to pass more legislation? And I think we've seen tonight, because of the heroism of David and Sandra, that we've seen the abominable things that happen at Planned Parenthood, and that we need new pro-life laws and new pro-life legislators to stop this. These are heinous acts that are still going on in our backyard, 3 miles away from here. One of the most egregious offenders in the world has a monstrous operation. So let's take a look at the total lives saved since 1990 in Texas. Look at that graph. That is a thing of beauty. And the applause is for y'all, because it shows that almost 500,000 lives have been saved in Texas since 1990. In fact, more abortions have been prevented in Texas than any other state in America. We are changing the culture, and we are winning and building the culture of life. But it wouldn't happen if we weren't all pulling together to change hearts, to change minds, to change leaders and laws. So we do have proof that it can win, and we're going to offer you 2 ways to join the culture of life, the resistance, through investing in Texas Right to Life. The first will be to make a one-time gift to help us make certain new pro-life laws are passed, implemented, and enforced in the 85th Texas legislative session, and to help us completely defund the abortion industry in Texas once and for all. Now, the second will be to make a monthly pledge to increase the college students in the Dr. Joseph Graham College Fellowship Program, say that one 10 times, to train more Elizabeths who already lead the resistance on their college campuses. Now, some of you have already sponsored this event most magnanimously, and some of you bought 1 ticket, and that was a sacrificial gift. So I'm very appreciative for that. But I want to ask you to please consider a one-time gift right now. We are the only pro-life organization with a full-time team, not just one person, pro-life organization working the marbled halls of the Capitol to adequately fund what's going to happen to pass more pro-life laws, because every law is harder than the one before it, to protect all the pregnancy centers, our sisters in this work, and to remove funding for Planned Parenthood will probably cost us $500,000 for a 20-week session in Austin. And that's not even counting a special session, a second special session, a third special session. So the dinner's already been underwritten. Everything's covered tonight. I just want to say tonight, I'm sorry if we had a little difficulty serving dinners. We had far more people show up than we ever expected tonight. So thank you all. And David, thank you, because they came to see you and Sandra. So the dinner's been covered. So every dollar you give right now is going to pass more pro-life legislation. It'll save more babies to keep the bad graph going down and the good graph keep going up. Thousands of men and women will be saved a lifetime of sorrow and regret in our state here in Texas. So let me digress, because I think you can feel the electricity in the room and everywhere we go now. I think the next year is going to be one of the most difficult years in our nation's history. I think Charlie Johnson, who too here is a guest, has written, we've entered a storm which I think very soon will become a worldwide financial, geopolitical, and spiritual hurricane, and we're in it, and we're not going to escape it. The world's going to change November 8th or November 9th, period. There's going to be November 8th, and then after November 8th. This is a pivotal election in the history of the world. And the storm's either going to be worse, or it's going to become almost unbearable, because the person who we elect is going to appoint as many as 5 Supreme Court justices. We've been playing a game of political poker for about 30 years, and it's probably been about to a tie. But with this election, all the chips are in. The tie is going to be broken. One side's going to win. November 9th, we're going to wake up and somebody will have finally won this struggle after 30 years. One of those two is going to win everything on that fateful day. There's a possibility that some of the people in the room, I wanted to go through a list of all the heroes that are here, like Ruby and Marianne. We mentioned some of them. But if I start chronicling them, I'm going to be up here another half an hour, and y'all didn't come to see me. But there are people who have made a huge difference. But the probability is, going forward in the next year, there are going to be some more citations. There are going to be some more free rides downtown in police cars. There's going to be some more grand juries. And some of us are even going to be required to go to jail to challenge some unjust laws and stop evil elected officials and appointed judges. I pray I'm wrong. I do. But no one wants that. But I also pray, if that is visited upon us, that the people who are called to carry that cross will have the strength to carry it and the courage, because it's going to be a brutal year. But it's also going to be a year, like any year of the cross, that's going to offer us tremendous opportunities for grace to save more lives than I think we've ever seen before. More souls to change the situation once and for all. So it's going to be a pivotal year, a cataclysmic year, and a year of opportunities for us. So I'm going to ask you something to do, and I've never done it before. This isn't a trick. I'm going to ask you to do something to donate right now the largest pro-life gift you've ever made. If I'm wrong about the storm, I'll go easy on you next year. I'm going to say, you went out there with me, everything blew over, we're back in the land of Candyland, and we're merrily skipping down. But I think we need to prepare. We need to be ready for the storm that's about to hit us. So I want you to give us the greatest gift you can, and I'm going to do the same thing, and this is going to hurt me. I hadn't planned on this. I planned on kind of skating tonight, but I just became convicted that that's not the right thing to do. I can't ask people to do something and not be prepared to do it myself. So I'm asking you to go all in now, too. Just like Soros is, Buffett, the other side, they are all in. They are in it to win it. And we have to be ready to do that too. We have to be ready to get muddy and bloody and fight to win. So I'm asking you to go all in with me. Mother Teresa, as we heard tonight, taught us never to be overwhelmed by despair or confronted. When we're confronted by a seemingly impossible situation, and I think that's what a lot of us feel right now with what's going on in America, that things are impossible. And that's the wrong approach. What we have to do is imitate her, and we focus on and love the individual in front of us and provide that person what they truly need, born or unborn. And in Bengali, she would often say, ek, 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 which means one, one, one. And my Bengali is a little rusty. I hope I just didn't order dinner, but I'm fairly certain that's what she said. So now when we follow the principle of one at a time, Texas Right to Life's Dr. Joseph Graham Fellowship for College Pro-Life Leaders, it's quickly become the largest pro-life undergraduate and graduate training program in the world. Whole organizations try to do the same thing we do, but none offer the comprehensive issue and advocacy education, mentorship, and support provided by our fellowship. Our fellowship, as you can see, has grown from 8 to 58 undergraduate students on 25 campuses, 3 law students at 2 law schools, and 7 medical students on 6 different medical campuses, and some of them are with us tonight. Stipends for this program alone are $160,000. That's not training, that's not staff, that's not special events. It's probably a $300,000 program by itself. We need to increase the monthly pledges by $5,800, just $5,800 to fund this program. Now, if y'all give a lot more, we're interested in expanding the program. I'd like to be able to stand before you in 2 years and say we have 100 students building the culture of life around Texas within 2 years. So again, thanks for coming out. Just a record crowd. We didn't expect it. There's a spirit of excitement and possibility right now. And we're so appreciative to have you be here, to be part of the resistance, to join the resistance, to fund the resistance, to build a culture of life. We couldn't do it, and I promise you, we've only begun to fight. And together, we are going to win. Thank you.